hoping that I can become successful enough one day that I can afford a new guitar.
Old guitars rock.
So one thing about the pandemic, I mean, it was so difficult for the music industry and the hospitality industry. You know, all of a sudden we couldn't do what we wanted to do. And I had a wicked tour lined up with my buddy Mariner. We were going to do 28 shows in 32 days. 28 shows in 32 days in Western Canada, and we had planned on making an album together. I thought, I got to start jazzercising or something, because, good golly, Miss Molly, maybe I'd do that 30 years ago. But we just got the rug pulled right off from under our feet, and you know, everything had to get canceled. So my big thing at first, I think I was a little in shock, but luckily my friend Jim Beam sat down with me and helped me out a little bit. But but then I decided I just have to stay creative. You know, I've never been home that long. So, you know, I started the podcast, and then I thought I'm just gonna write songs every day. I'm gonna get up and try to write a song, and eventually we made the album. But it's an interesting thing. A lot of the songs I wrote I might not have got accomplished if I hadn't been at home for that long. So. At the time, my grandmother, 95 years old, was living with my mom down by our spot at the Nanaimo River, because she was unfortunately just starting to get into the phases of dementia. So the nice thing about it was that I got to see her every day, because I'd go down every day in the summer and swim, you know, and I'd talk to her, and it was so cool. She used to play the banjo and stuff in bands back in Manitoba, way back in the day. So she could remember all of that. She'd be talking about her gigs. But then she'd ask me 5 times, "Are you going to play music tonight?" And I'd say, "Well, no, Grandma, we can't. You know, we can't. We're not allowed to play." And the other question, "Are you going out gallivanting tonight?" God, I wish. I gotta guess, yeah, I wish. But when she passed away, I was bequeathed a silver cup, which is was on the cover. That's the actual cup right there. And my mom showed me this paper about the history. So it was my great uncle on my mother's side, a guy named James Mackay, spelled McKay, but Scottish Mackay. But he was a mover to shaker in the Métis world way back in the day. He started as a trapper and a guide. Eventually started brokering the treaties that formed the provinces of Manitoba, because he was Scottish, French, and Cree, and he could speak English, French, and several indigenous languages. And apparently it was just like everyone liked him, you know. And his brother was also the same, but Louis Riel didn't like his brother too much. Got him thrown the clink at one point. But they hung out. But it was just so cool to hold this cup. So if I hadn't been home and going on the internet and checking this out and doing the research, and then I found a book that had been written about us, I ordered the book online. It was really interesting. And he was such an interesting dude that I thought, even if this wasn't, a relation of mine, it's just a fascinating person, to write about. But when I held that silver cup on my hand, I could just feel the magic, and I don't want to sound like I'm suffering from mystic fibrosis, just because I'm from Vancouver Island, but I took a picture of it and I sent it to my buddy Eric Johnson, who lives in Gabriola, and I write songs with him sometimes. I just sent him the picture of the cup, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we're going to write about that." So, I haven't played it in a while, I hope I don't screw it up. Here's the title track. When I grew up, there stood an old silver cup. I was never allowed to pick it up.